how to diagnose what's wrong with your job hunt, right? So I was telling one of our students, one of our guys, let's put it like that. One of our guys, I was explaining that, he was just telling me that he had, 3 interviews, but that he hadn't been able to basically land the job, any of the 3 jobs. And that's actually fine. That's actually good news. Because there are different stages, right, or different failure modes of the job hunt, right, that you need to identify. So first, if you're getting interviews, right, that tells us many things. So number one, it tells us that the resume is good, that the resume is good quality. It has what recruiters in that position, searching for candidates. They're searching candidates for you, basically, right? And the resume is matching their expectations. That's what I mean to say. It tells us that there are jobs, they are hiring for your role, which is good, right? And so if you're getting to the interview process, right, then you even make it to the last interview, but then you are not able to close the deal, then that simply tells us that it's either bad luck, that can always happen. It's just bad luck. You did great on the interview process, but some of the guy was just like slightly better than you, or some of the requirements changed, or they closed the position. Those are kind of like factors that are outside of our control. We really can't do much about that, right? If it's just like, any of those things, because it's like it is totally on, the ball is totally on the court of the employer, right? But if it's not bad luck, right? If it's something with your interview or your interviewing skills, something that you do wrong, maybe you do not convey your expertise correctly, or something off. That's why we recommend I was telling this person that we're going to have the customer success manager email him the guide, the job hunting guide, again, specifically highlighting the part where we explain how to record interviews, because we want to discard the fact that, we want to make sure that it's not your interviewing skills or that you did something, not necessarily your general skills, but in those particular interviews, you did something wrong, right? And so we can't help you. We don't know, right, unless we see what happened. So that's why we give you instructions on how to set up everything on your computer to record the interview. And then you send it to us, we review it, and we give you feedback, right? And so if it turns out, right, like suppose that, you would have you recorded the interview, we see it, and we don't see anything wrong, then we can just say like, hey, just keep at it, just keep doing what you're doing. Eventually one of the job, one employer will bite. But if we see that there's room, there's space to improve, right? Like if there are some things that you need to optimize, some things that you need to stop doing during the interview process, then we can help you with that. But that's if you are getting interviews, right? Which you should if you're following the new approach, right? And so then again, like I said, it's just a matter of optimizing, discarding the possibility of it being bad luck, and then optimizing if you're doing anything, again, if there's room for improvement. But then what happens if you don't get interviews, right? Like, so if you're sending out applications, even following the new approach that we developed, and you're not getting, you're not even getting a simple meet and greet, or a simple, simple screening call, then that tells us we still don't know what's wrong, right? So we need to dig a little bit deeper. We need to figure out what could be wrong. So what could be wrong? Number one, it could be that they are hiring, there are positions open for that role, right? But your resume is not targeting the right, like what employers want, right? Like, so there are a couple of key skills or something that is in demand in your field, for your position, that it's not coming through on the resume, right? So if that's the case, then it's just a matter of tweaking the resume a little bit and then starting out again, right? The other possibility is that the resume is right. The resume is perfect. Like it targets everything that an employer could want for that role, but there are no positions available. Or hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. It could be that you're applying to basically fake job listings, right? And so once again, we have some guides explaining how to identify, and I've even made some posts on the community that you can scroll through and search about fake, what in the market, in the business is known as like ghost listings, right? So it could be that you're in sending applications in a very low quality website, or in a website where employers for your role, they don't actually go there, right? Like it's not actually, they're not actually posting listings there for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't find, when, they tried it a little bit and they didn't find that they were getting good candidates, any number of reasons, right? So could be that, the market is still good, but you are not, bad luck. And this is like another instance of bad luck. You're applying to fake, ghost listings, or listings that already have too many applicants. And so it's not, getting through. Again, the many applicant stuff, like we already sort of fix with the new approach. But if like you're using the new approach and you're not getting any response at all, right? And you're sending a reasonable amount of applications, right? It doesn't have to be 1,000 applications, doesn't have to be like 100 applications. But if it's like 40, 50 applications and you do that for a couple of months and you're not even getting interviews, then that tells us that you probably, again, like I said, it's either the resume and we need to revise it, or it's the place where you are actually trying to apply and like contact the recruiter. It's not there, right? And so we need to move away from like the free tier of employment websites. We need to move to to some of the ones that are paid, right? Like, and the reason that why you want to move to the ones that are paid, even if it's just for a month or 2 months, it's because when you access those paid employment listing websites, right? Like the ladders. I've spoken about this before, but it's not out of the question to talk about this again, because it's part of the not all of you were here in the program when I made that original presentation, so I'm just refreshing. So the reason why you want to try then going up to like higher tier but paid employment websites, it's because the payment it's like it gatekeeps bad listings, right? Like employees that are there are usually like they usually pay a higher fee to be able to post to list their jobs there, and the website itself makes, even if it's just the payment itself, it's not that they're like conducting background checks on the people that sign up, but just going from free to not free, that already kind of like, it always cuts the feet of low quality people. Like once you introduce, like you have to pay even a little bit to do something, then a lot of low quality people immediately drop. Like they immediately just bounce, they go do something else, right? And so in this case, it's not low quality people, but low quality postings, all right? So that's the next steps. That's like the evolution, right, of you trying to figure out what may be wrong, right? Like why is it that you're not having success? Because just sending out applications, like just like what we call spraying and praying, that's not going to work in this job market. Or you're going to be one of those guys that it's like, like they have sent 5,000 applications, whatever, and they don't seem to have any luck, right? Like you have to be a little bit more flexible, more proactive, try to A/B test things, and you don't have to come up with the tests, right? Like, so we already have that information for you. All you have to do is execute, right? Like the one thing that we can't do for you is execute on all these strategies, right? Like we have already developed all these strategies. We have already developed all these mechanisms to diagnose in which possible situation you're in. But if you don't execute, right, like then we can't really help you. Like in the case, for instance, and I'm not, trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm just explaining that, for instance, in the case of the interviews, right, like if you don't record the interviews and you don't send them to us, then we can't tell you like, yeah, for sure, it's like, you screwed up, you did this, never say this on an interview. And you'd be surprised how sometimes people, like when you're not trained to kind of like guard what you say on interviews, sometimes you'll say something that's not, that's not conducive to you getting an offer, even if it's something small. So I remember, for instance, one guy here in the program, he recorded his screening interview and he sent it to us. And in the screening interview, he was very dry. He was very dry, and he was very he was not cooperating with the recruiter, because the recruiter was asking him, like, do you have experience in this? Would you be willing to do this? And the guy was very dry, and he was saying, like, no, I would need to be trained, right? And so like that phrase, like, I would need to be trained, that immediately, that's like, you're going to be, your application is not going to be considered at all. Employers are not looking to train anybody. Employers or if they are willing to train somebody, they don't want somebody that is asking to be trained. It's just very weird, the dynamic. And so it's the same, like, they want overqualified people, but they don't want you to present as overqualified. It's very, very strange. It's very paradoxical, the behavior they engage in. It's very whimsical in a sense. Like, it's just like, oh, I want somebody that, can solve all these problems and is overqualified. But if we get a resume from a guy that's truly overqualified and he's presenting himself as overqualified, we'll get suspicious and we won't hire him, because it's weird that somebody that's overqualified would want to have this position. And so again, like, if you don't, the point of this is, like, I'm rambling all over the place. The point of this is, we give you the strategies, we give you how to diagnose things, right? Like how to pivot to different positions, like how to improve your position in the market, your situation, but you have to execute, right? Like you have to execute the strategy. You have to record the interviews when you get them. You have to ask us to review the interviews and then provide you feedback, and we do. And if you feel like, for instance, like it's been a long while and you're not getting any success at all, then maybe it's time to rework, to refine your resume or craft you even a completely different resume. But if we don't hear about that, then we can't, help you as you need it, right? Like, so it's like, remember that this program is very hands-on. You have direct access to me, you have direct access to AJ, we have the live streams. But if we don't get the feedback from you guys of like what you're actually experiencing yourself, right? Because we look at trends in the market, right? So like, I know what the market is like in general, not for every possible role out there, right? But in general, what's happening, we look at trends, right? Like the macro trends of the market. We A/B test things, specifically, right? Like to see how employers are reacting in general, but there's always a specific component that's unique to you, to your situation, your role, your resume, your interviewing skills, right? Like how many applications you sent, to who, how you track it, how you keep track of them. So it's important that you provide these the feedback on what you're seeing yourself, so that we can help you pivot, so that we can help you, craft, or take proper course, right? Like take corrective course if necessary, or in the case of, like, for instance, the person that we were talking about earlier, like just telling him, keep going at it, maybe record the interviews in the future so we can make sure. But if you're getting interviews, at least that tells us, like I said, that the resume is working and that there are open positions, like there's active hiring for that role. So that's pretty much it. Like that's how, again, like just this improvised talk about how to basically diagnose your, the problems in your job hunting journey. I hate using the word journey, but I always fail to like just look up something else to say. So I always end up saying journey. So your job hunting efforts, let's say efforts, what's happening. All right.